Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Semi-Professional Academic Podcast. As always, I am your host with the most unanswered DMs in my Tinder inbox, Jacob Watts. And joining me today is a absolute basket case. No, I'm kidding. an, an, an absolute just joy of a person, college athlete turned future doctor, Katie Perry.
Woo. Oh, thanks for that amazing intro.
Katie, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness. It's been too long. When was the last time we talked? Like 2 years ago?
I don't know. I would like swipe up on your stories. If you can count that as talking. The last time I saw you was like homecoming 2 years ago, maybe.
Dang, that's crazy. I know it doesn't seem like that long because and like people at home, one thing about me is I'm gonna slide up on a story. Like I'm like
Absolutely.
if we're friends, I'm sliding up, be like, oh bitch, this is so funny. Or like, dude, what the fuck is going on? What is this?
Oh, 100%.
Um
It's amazing. So, I count that as communication. So,
I do too, but like in person, like that's crazy that I haven't seen you in two
yeah,
years.
2 years.
But I mean, I've lived in 3 states in a year, so
Yeah, I'm not keeping up with that.
no. Oh my gosh. Well, Katie, before we like dive into it a little too much, would you mind giving our listeners just a little bit of background info about you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Indianapolis. I went to Bishop Chatard High School, which that probably doesn't tell anyone anything. Catholic high school. I went to Hanover College with Jacob. Go Panthers, I guess. And then I came back to Indianapolis and I got my master's at Marion. I did a year master's program as like a bridge. And then I got accepted into the medical school. So I'm at Marion University, College of Osteopathic Medicine, and I'm home in Indy.
Nice. Just real quick, this is you're M2, right? At Marion?
Yeah. Yep. Almost too.
That's what I thought. I just the mind doesn't mind like it used to.
Oh no. Like also like since I did the master's program, people don't like I tell people I'm an OMS too, and they're like, "What do you mean? I thought you started like 4 years ago." And I was like, "No, no, no. I paid an extra $80,000 to get my master's first.
Wait, the masters cost $80,000?
Something crazy like that."
Oh my
I'm
gosh. That's Katie, I won't put you in the awkward position of like speaking on it, but like to me, and like granted, I pursued like a research biology master's, so it's different. But like my master's was paid for. I mean, like I
right.
got very little stipend to live off of. But $80,000, that's just robbery.
Yeah, so like the master's was a capstone master's. So it was all coursework.
Mhm.
And so like with research, you get like a research stipend, right? So like we didn't have that. So I was just basically like going through another year of classes. And
Mhm.
Marion's a private Catholic school and they like leech money out of people, which like all private Catholic schools do that. But that's not even close to what I pay for a year of like DO school.
I don't even every day I'm so thankful medicine was not the path for me. Like shout out to y'all doing it. Like y'all doing amazing.
Yeah, every day I wish medicine wasn't my path, but here we are.
Here we
I'm
are.
in it now. I was like, why can't I have liked like geography?
Geography.
like, like would have been much cheaper.
Oh my gosh. Diving into that like a little bit, kind of like building back off that, and I don't know why I try to use these words. Like I don't know why. I don't know why I get on this show and I'm trying to act like so smart. Everyone knows me. I'm a fucking dumbass.
Because
Um,
I'm intimidating you. Duh.
with
No, just
what?
kidding.
I'm I'm kidding.
You're like staring at this like blonde-headed bimbo and like supposed to be intimidated. Yeah, right.
You are not a bimbo. Like, what the hell are you talking
I
about?
feel like one. The
You
imposter syndrome's real.
honestly, literally in the middle of that right now. I totally feel that. But like,
It's bad.
but you're capable. I mean, like, you got into Marion twice. Like,
True. I've never thought about that.
one thing about
Wow. Yeah, cheers. Cheers to that.
one thing about me is I am a student, and I will hype up students no matter what. I feel like that's been like a very core being.
I'm sure your students appreciate it.
But enough about me. This is not about me. um,
It can be about you.
no, I'm not interesting. Uh, so Katie, give us a little bit of background about Bishop Chatard. It was a private Catholic school, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go to a private Catholic school for high school, like just there, and then you go off to Hanover, which is a private, not really Catholic school, more of like Presbyterian school, but like had
Yeah, I wasn't very like religiously affiliated.
no, not really, but still had that like private feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Marion, another private school. So like
Yeah.
you just saying, public school is not for me, or like was it just like was that intentional, or was it just like the way it all worked out?
So I actually also went to a private elementary school. I went to St. Simon, and it's K through 8.
Okay,
So,
so you said private school and never looked back.
and nothing else.
Nothing else.
Public who?
Like who? Oh,
Not me.
do you get like I don't know like how to word this because like to me I've had a blend of well not really a blend like well kind of so I went to public school like my entire life, then I went to Hanover, which is private, and then I went to state schools for my master's and PhD. So like
Hmm.
I have that like mix of background. Having that private school background, did you always know that like you wanted to stick into private school, or did it just like kind of like happen that way?
So it just kind of like happened. Like I would have been more than happy to go to a public school. So my I have two older sisters, and they both went to St. Simon. My oldest sister teaches there still, but my grandma was like super religious, and she pushed my parents to put us into a Catholic school, and then we just kind of stuck there because it's like a small community, and you just like get to know everybody, and so it just made and it was like 2 minutes away from our house, so it just like made sense that we went there, because we just like weren't in a very good school district either. Like I would have gone to like Amy Beverland and then like Lawrence North, which like those schools are fine, but my parents just like didn't want that for me. So then my oldest sisters also went to Chatard, played soccer. So it just like then just made sense that I followed them to Chatard. I mean, I could have gone anywhere. I could have gone to Cathedral. I could have gone to like LN or LC or Mount Vernon, but like we were already in that like circle and in that community. So it just made sense. I didn't want to go anywhere else because I was like, I want to be like my older sisters. Even though that, I mean, Chatard was like 30 minutes away from my house. So I had to like figure out how to get there every morning. And then as far as Hanover goes, I applied to like Ball State. I think Ball State was the only public school I applied to. I only applied to Ball State, Franklin, and Hanover. But that was solely because I wanted to play soccer. Like I couldn't play soccer at a public school because I knew I wasn't going anywhere besides D3. I mean, I would have loved to go to like Tennessee, or like Tennessee would have been like the dream, or like Notre Dame. I guess Notre Dame's private too. But like or IU. Like I'm jealous of people who had like a big college experience in some aspects. And then Marion, I knew I wanted to be back in Indianapolis. That was 2 hours away from home, and I'm like huge family gal. Like a family is a huge part of my life, and I knew I wasn't getting in right away. So Rachel Welsh, who I don't know if who you know, she was a CIO. She told me about the master's program at Marion, and if you got a 3.5 in the master's program, you got an automatic interview to the DO school. So I was like, well, duh, I'm going to do that. So then, yeah, that's just how it happened. So it wasn't like an active choice. I guess college was just because of soccer, but it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to go to public school.
Hmm.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah, you didn't give off that kind of vibe, like public school, like hater by any means, but like it was just interesting how like every phase, like it was just
I
private.
know it just kind of happens. It like they like suck you in once you like start there. You never stop. Like the term like cradle Catholic comes to mind,
You don't
but
Catholic?
like private school, yeah,
I've
like you're
never heard that.
born really you're like born into Catholicism. You like don't have a choice, like old money vibes, but not old money because I was poor. So like even though like hearing that I went to private school my whole life, you wouldn't think that, but like that's why we were poor.
So real, so real. This may be like a prodding question, so like feel free to
I'm
not.
an open book. You can ask me anything.
I know, but like just if I ever ask something and you like, I absolutely do not want to answer this, just let me know and we'll cut it.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know exactly how to word this, so I'm just gonna go for it.
Go for it.
Has faith always been like a very important aspect, like to you personally?
No. No, absolutely not. I mean, like, I'm a science person. Not to say that people who are in science don't like can't be very religious, but I'm a very like black and white person. I'm a very like physical person. Like I need to be able to like see things to believe it. And it's not anything that I've taken an interest in or like felt connected to. And also when you're like growing up in that system, I mean, we had a religion class every day. So I had religion class from kindergarten through senior year of high school, like every day, like tests over it. We learned the entire Bible and we had mass every week. So it was never like a choice for me. I think I would have felt different if I would have like found God on my own, but it was always just felt like something I had to do. So therefore I didn't like it. And even my mom was, I mean, my mom never pushed us. My mom was like, you go to a Catholic school. I don't need to take you to church on Sunday. So like my parents didn't push Catholicism either or like religion, but she was like, "Oh, you're gonna want it one like someday, like when you're out of it." And I'm like almost 4 years out of it, or 8 years at this point, and I don't have the need to or feel the need to like reconnect with God in any type of way.
I think it's really interesting because I mean, given that like your educational background was tied in with religion for so long, I'm just always interested to see that because I mean, my education wasn't necessarily tied in with religion, but it was very much expected growing up in a smaller community.
hmm
Talk because you know how it is in small towns, people talk. So yeah, I'm always interested to hear that. So
Yeah, I just don't. I think it's because it wasn't like forced on me at home. I never really like cared to dig any deeper. We had to go on like week-long retreats in high school, and like after that, everyone is very like Jesus-y, very like into God, and then it like dies down after a week.
yeah,
Um, so I guess like that's the only time where I was like, oh my God. But no, I don't know, I've never have felt that. I've never felt the need for like a higher power in my life. I'm a very like intrinsically motivated person, so like I don't think I need that idea. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to be motivated by something else, or I don't need to put my worth on somebody else, or that like God loves me. Like I love me. So
period. Yeah,
her.
I love that. So kind of like touch back what you talked about before. You knew you wanted to play soccer, and I just gotta ask because you know I'm messy a little bit. What was like the deciding factor for you choosing Hanover? Like, was it entirely soccer? Was it like the field that you got, or was it a combination, or what was
Yeah,
that?
my sister went to Frank. My oldest sister went to Franklin and played soccer. My other older sister went to Marion and played soccer, which is obviously where I am now. So I looked at like a bunch of different colleges and went to like a bunch of different IB camps. And Hanover's IB camp was the only one that I enjoyed and like wanted to go back to. Apart from like the campus being beautiful, like as soon as I stepped on campus, I knew that I wanted to be there. It was between Hanover and Franklin had a goalkeeper who was a year older than me, who was like amazing. So like I knew I wasn't gonna play. And going into it, I thought I could get more playing time at Hanover. And then I knew Hanover had a better science program. So I was like, what if I like fracture my femur and I can't play soccer anymore? Like, am I going to be okay with the academics? And I was like, well, yeah, they have like a cadaver lab, they have this kit program, they have a good like bio like facilities. So honestly, it was like the academics that really like pushed me to choose it over Franklin because it would have been easy for me to go to Franklin and like be a Pi Phi like my sister was or do that. But I mean, Jim, our coach, like, is an amazing recruiter. So, and he like made me feel wanted. I was like, okay. And then Hanover, like, figure out a way to match Franklin's price. They like readjusted my GPA or something, I don't know, and like got me up to where, because that was like also a big thing with Hanover, was the most expensive school out of like the list of schools I was looking at.
Hmm.
So Hanover was like, we'll work with you, and they got it down somehow. They like gave me another grant or something. So then yeah, I chose Hanover.
Nice, nice. No, they did the same thing for me too because like I applied to Franklin as well.
Hmm.
I mean, like I played tennis at Hanover for a year. Well,
Right.
I was on the roster.
I was on the roster for 4 years. Okay.
Okay, but you played. You actually
I
played.
played like 4 games, like my entirety of my 4 years. I wouldn't count that as playing.
Okay, girl, I played 0 games and I was included in 0 media days. The only recognition of me is that I was listed as a recruit on the website and on Twitter. But kind of like you, like I obviously like wanted to play tennis somewhere, but like I knew that like especially D3, like we're not getting any money from doing
Hmm.
it, which a lot of people don't know this, and it's alarming to me. D3 athletes get no direct scholarship money. Like
Oh
most of
yeah, no.
Yeah, most of the time your D3 athletes are also the ones who are doing great in classrooms. I mean, like I know like you killed it, Sydney killed it academics wise. I did okay. Um and had like high achieving people like getting
Hmm.
so that's where like our money comes from. It was never just athletics. And everyone thinks that not everyone, but like so many people have alarmingly came up to me and asked if any of us got money. And I'm just like, no,
Really?
we didn't get a single dime.
No, absolutely not. And even if we did, it was like hidden somehow, like under the table. Like I think my grant was called like the Hanover grant, but I don't think that was like directly because of my athletic ability. Yeah, that's surprising. I feel like everyone knew that. Yeah, no, not a, but also I felt like we had, at least for soccer, tennis is a little different structurally and community wise, but like soccer, we had like a lot of people stay all 4 years. Like we didn't have a lot of people quit.
Yeah. No, I honestly feel like soccer was probably like the sport with the highest retention.
Yeah, soccer and like basketball.
Yeah.
We just did it for the love of the game, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and your all soccer program was like regularly good. Like
Yeah, it's
I think
because
that's
Jim's so good at recruiting.
yeah. And like it was always like, oh, soccer girls, yeah, they're killing it. Oh, so aside from like wanting to pursue soccer, we talked about a little bit like you wanted to pursue sciences. And I remember literally like first day of classes, you and I met in bio.
Hmm.
And did you initially go to Hanover with the pursuit of bio, or did it just like kind of fall in your lap? I mean, I know this, but like they don't know that.
Yeah, so I mean, I know I wanted, this is gonna sound so cliche. But I wanted to be a doctor since I was like 5 years old. I watched one episode of House and then I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Which is like weird because usually people say Grey's Anatomy, but mine was House. My oldest sister wanted to be a lawyer. My other older sister wanted to be a vet. So I was like, guess I'll be a doctor. Um, and then it just stuck, I guess. So yeah, I sought out Hanover because I knew I had a good science program. So the intention was always to do something in the medical field. Originally it was to be a doctor, and then I like psyched myself out, which I still do to this day. And I was like, oh my God, like I don't want to kill somebody. Like I'd rather kill a rabbit than someone's brother. So then I switched to being wanting to be a vet. And then I was like, wait, like animals can't talk to you. So then I switched back to wanting to be a people doctor. But yeah, I came in and they lined up, they were like, yeah, take this, 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 and this. And I was like, okay.
Like here we go. A lot of people don't know this about you, but you also have like a pretty like extensive background in psychology as well.
Yeah. So I also flirted with the idea of majoring in psych. And I double majored for a long time because Dr. Gull, shout out, was like, just double major until you figure it out. And this is gonna sound bad, and I don't mean it to sound bad or like I'm tooting my own horn, but I like took all the psych classes and I was like, this is too easy. And then I was like, so like if you're a psychologist or a psychiatry, you still have to go to med school. But if you're a psychologist listening to this, I don't mean that in a bad way, but like psych was something that always just like made a lot of sense to me. And I didn't think it was challenging enough. So I just minored in it.
No.
But it's helped me a lot.
No. I think especially like given that like you're pursuing medicine, I mean, I know it's not like a one-to-one pivot, but
Hmm.
surely with like that background with understanding like the human mind, emotions, all that, like I'm sure that's got to help with like bedside manner or like
Oh
some.
yeah, 100%. Like a patient will be feeling some type of way. Like right now I'm doing sports med and I just like worked a well, I'm interested in sports med and I just watched a football game and someone went down the field and like to be able to process like what emotions they're feeling, and then like be able to calm them down or be able to put yourself in that their shoes, because a lot of times with medicine, people like a lot of doctors aren't empathetic after a while. So to be able to retain that empathy, being like, I understand why you're feeling this way, is huge because so many people just like go flat face when they're talking to a patient, like have no idea how to talk to people. And in psychology, that's all you do. Like you have to talk to people. So I think it's definitely helped. And just to, but it's also like extremely hurt me in my personal life. But that's a topic for another day.
That's so real. That's why I can do psychology because like I mean you've met me. I overanalyze everything. Like someone like halts over a word and I'm like, oh my gosh, they hate me.
I know. I'm
So
like, oh my God, what did I do? They didn't use an emoji in a text. What am I gonna do?
oh that part. My advisor, okay, like no offense to my like current advisor. I absolutely love her. Um but she sent a message the other day and she sent three ellipses. So naturally, I thought I was getting fired like immediately.
I would have too. I would have like, what did I do? Oh my
I,
gosh.
I know. So I went to her and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, what did I do?" She goes like, "You didn't do anything wrong. Like what? Like I was crazy. I was like, do not gaslight me right now." You said,
People
"Yeah,
older than 35 like don't know how to text without causing undue harm to the people they're texting.
no." And
Like,
you know who was the worst about it? And this is the first time I've ever like name dropped him on the show was Dr. Gall because I told him specifically, I was like, "I'm begging of you for all the shit I've done for you over the past 4 years. Please don't text me like this." And he would do it purposefully to annoy me. I was like, "You are the worst. You are the literal worst."
he would. That guy was amazing. I'll name drop him in the best kind of way. But he like came to me one time and I was like, you know, phase my sophomore year. Like I was like complaining about everything. I didn't want to do anything. And he was like, or maybe it was my junior year, I don't know. But he was like, Katie, if you don't like fix your shit, like I'm gonna have to like rewrite your letter of rec. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, okay,
Damn.
Brian, I'm sorry.
Damn. And you know that bitch would. Oh,
I know.
well. I don't know why I hesitate. I told a professor he has little dick energy to his face. It's not like I'm known for
Well,
holding
I
back.
think it's different now that we're like older and like grown and they see us as like adults versus like when we were in college. I still feel like we were like babies and children that they were like looking after. So I think it's like a different relationship.
Yeah. And Brian was your advisor too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like this kind of like transitions a little bit, but like, do you think having that, because for those of you who don't know, Hanover had a student body population of about like 1,100 when we graduated.
Yeah.
So do you think like you benefited a lot from having like that close knit like relationship with your advisors where you're just like, you got to get your shit together?
Yeah. I mean, I seek out advisors that are no bullshit. My dad's very no bullshit, and that's how I am. I don't need you to sugarcoat it. I want you to tell it to me straight. Like I can handle it. I think growing up in athletics, that's huge. Like I just tell me what to do and I'll do it. So and I can like read through people's BS too, and I like hate it. And I'm like, I know you're holding something back. Like just say it. So like having Dr. Gall like just be so blunt like that. And even like my advisor here at Marion, she's the same way. Like she's gonna tell it to me straight. And I'm like, that's fine. Like I'm very self-aware. Like just please tell it to me.
Oh.
So yeah, I think that was huge just to push me and someone I felt comfortable like crying in his office or being like, I don't know what to do, help. Because I don't like asking for help. So to feel comfortable with him enough to ask for help was huge.
That's so important too. And like I think it's you really do touch on like an important point, and I think a lot of people don't recognize this is that not everybody's mentorship style is going to work for everybody. But it's very important to one recognize and like kind of like you said, like be very self-aware of like what you need and seek out people who need that. Like I've had advisors who are very hands off, like you do your own thing. I'll see you in a few months. Let me know what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. I mean, like I don't need you to hold my hand, but I would like for your feedback on this because I don't one thing I hate is wasting my time. So if I'm doing something
Mm-hmm.
for like 3 months, I don't want you to come back 3 months
Right.
and be like, why didn't you do this?
Yeah, then you have to like do the whole experiment or the whole protocol or whatever all over again. And I'm like, I wish you just would have been here in the first place.
Yeah. So like I knew like I needed that like very like halfway approach. Like I wanted someone who was present and I could ask questions, but also like let me do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
yeah. Katie, it's no surprise like to you or anyone in the medicine field that if you want to pursue medical school, you have to have an extensive background of science classes such as like biology, genetics, organic chemistry, biochemistry, and then sometimes like some anatomy, physiology, stats, so,
Mm-hmm.
physics, what all that kind of jazz. This is something that like I want to ask people because I feel like you're very strong, like academic wise, but I think you're especially strong in biology.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I mean, you won the bio student award. I mean, like I feel like that goes without saying.
I forget, this is gonna sound bad, but I like forget that I won that because I'm so like hard on myself nowadays and I just like feel like absolute dog shit all the time about myself that I'm like, oh yeah, I was like a good student once.
You still are. I mean,
Medical school like fucks with your head, like
no,
it's wild.
no, that's so real. And that's something I
Oh,
want,
thank you.
no problem. And that's something I want to get into a little bit. But like, what do you think was like the most challenging coursework for you to get to medical school?
Oh my God, chemistry.
Yeah.
Like organic chemistry, general chemistry, biochem, even in medical school, biochem. It just like imaginary circles and dots and hexagons don't make sense to me. What do you mean this table is made up of atoms? I don't understand. Um, like it's a lot of math and it's a lot of like stupid math and like stoichiometry. Honestly, when I took the MCAT, chemistry was always my worst subject. So yeah, definitely chemistry, 100%.
Yeah.
You will
I
not find me being a chemist.
same. It's just not how my brain's wired. Like I respect people who can do it and enjoy it. It's just not for me.
I'm such a visual person. Like I can't visualize atoms colliding into each other. Like I can't imagine like hydrogen only having X amount of protons and neutrons. Like I can imagine like someone like having a brain herniation. I can picture that in my head. But I can't imagine chemistry.
Yeah. No shade to chemists. Like y'all are doing great. It's just not the life for us.
No, I envy them. I freaking wish I was good at chemistry. It would make my life a lot easier.
Literally. And I'm gonna name drop her, but Caroline,
Millard,
yeah,
yes.
literally like like she loved OChem. She loved it. Like she got so passionate about
I
it.
know.
Like
She was like the tutor. I was like, how the hell?
I know. Honestly, like I try to be as passionate about bio as a study group leader from watching her.
Honestly, like she just eat, sleep, breathe chemistry. And I was like, good for you, girl. Like, keep
Literally.
that passion.
Now, speaking of passion, when did you decide like, you know what? I'm sticking to bio and I'm pursuing medicine. I'm taking the MCAT. Like, was there like, I don't know, like just like that final switch in your head? It was just like, yep, this is it, or was it multiple?
Yeah. So like I said, I wanted to do vet. I want to be a vet for like a year
Mhm.
because I was like, I don't want to kill somebody. Which is a thought that I have every single day, but we can get into that later. So I worked at a vet clinic for a summer. And so I was like, I love animals. I've always loved animals. Like someone needs to like help them. Like I can help them. And then I worked at an exotic animal clinic. So there was a lot of birds, rabbits, turtles, lizards for a summer. And we had taken care of this rabbit for like all summer. and we fixed it or healed it and sent it on its way. And I was like, you know what? That rabbit doesn't give a shit that I just saved its life. Um, so, but honestly, and that sounds bad because it's like, oh, you want to be like thanked for like doing your job. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, when it's hard, but like not in a sense where, oh, I want people to praise me for saving their life. But it made me realize that like I need to have a relationship with my patients and I need to be able to communicate with them. I need to be able to develop a rapport and get to know them so that I can treat them better. And you're not going to get that with animals because they're an animal. So like I think that's really what pushed me. And the fact that I knew in my gut that if I was going to be a vet, I would always, always, always think I could have been a doctor. And I just know that about myself. If I like even now, I like have switched my specialty interest. Like I wanted to be an ortho surgeon, and now I want to be a sports med doc. And it's still in my mind, I'm like, could I be an ortho surgeon? Like, because I set that goal. So I was sitting in the PLC, I think that's what, or something like wherever we tutored at.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I was sitting in a tutoring shift when we got back from break, and I was like, I think I want to be a doctor. So literally during that tutoring shift, because no one came in, because like it was like a Friday or something.
No one's coming
Um,
Friday. I'm telling this
no,
I'm telling this to any tutor ever. Like, if you want to make that extra money, literally just do the Friday shift because listen, I wanted my study groups to be on Fridays because no one came in. Most of the time exams were on Fridays. And let's be real here. You're done by like 9. If you want to go out, it's
oh
9.
yeah, you can still go out.
Yeah. I mean, hello. I mean, we also like went out all the time. So I mean,
Yeah, no one was stopping me from going out. I don't care what I had to. I was going out.
yeah, facts.
So I was sitting in the tutoring center and I literally spent my entire shift Googling what I had to do to get into medical school. I was a sophomore at this point, which is very in like terms, if anyone listening to this wants to go into medicine, basically have to kind of like know going into college that you want to be a doctor, like you want to go into medicine and start planning your coursework and your experiences very strategically because you have to take your MCAT like your junior year, and then you apply your senior year. Like it's a whole thing. Like you have to think backwards. So as a junior or sophomore or whatever, I was late in the game. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to do all these things. I have to take the MCAT, I have to get all these shadowing hours, I have to take these courses and this and this and this. And I was like already so behind. And I just like made a list of all the things I had to do and then started doing it. But then, COVID hit, so that changed everything.
I
It was the fall of my junior year.
Dang. Nice. I think during the fall of my junior year is when I fell out of love with medicine. So like junior was a very transformative time.
Honestly, I feel like junior is the hardest out of like all of it.
Yeah. And then our senior year was COVID. So like that was just no one
Ugh,
won. No
God,
one.
that sucked.
Yeah.
Senior year was kind of ass. At least we had one though. My boyfriend was the class before us. He didn't even have a senior year. So, well, he
Yeah.
did, but it was cut short.
Yeah. I mean, this is just random, but like knowing what ours was, would you have rather had like a regular year that cut short or a full year of COVID?
A full year of COVID. Like well, I guess I would have had a senior season no matter what, but we still had wiffle ball. And honestly, that made it worth it.
Honestly, so valid. So
Like
valid.
we went on like like senior spring break and wiffle ball made it all worth it. Even though like there weren't any parties or like I was thinking the other day, I was like, I don't even know if like football played in the fall. Like I don't know. I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either. I think they canceled it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because my senior season was in the spring.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I know.
That was so crazy.
That sucked ass.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So we take the MCAT and we took our MCATs at roughly the same time. Like I think I took mine like
Oh
a
yeah.
after yours.
hmm
And I don't know about you, but the MCAT like took a part of my soul that I don't think I'm ever gonna
Oh,
get.
oh yeah, I took that bitch twice. So like half of me's gone. And then medicine just takes the rest.
It takes the rest.
I'm like, I'm a shell of myself. Yeah, it sucked. Like you just spend 6 months studying for an exam that like doesn't correlate with how you're gonna do in medical school just to give a number, and then half the time, like I mean, I got a 494 on my first one, and like I mean, I cried for like days. I knew I didn't get the score I needed, but just being like, I studied for this for so long and I didn't get what I needed, sucked ass. And I was like, I just spent $300 more and take it again. Great.
Wait, you got a 494 the first time?
Yeah.
Me too.
Hey, twins.
It was depressing.
People, I know. I was like at work, and my friend was like, "Don't look at your score. Don't look at your score." And I was like, "I have to look at my score."
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand and be like, I'm going to worry about it the whole time. This way starts the healing or celebrating process faster.
Exactly. And I took it the day before my birthday. So the day after, I was like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video of my 21st birthday, but like it went viral because I was like so inebriated.
No, I saw that. That was so funny. That was deep in my TikTok era when that happened.
um, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, it sucked ass. And then like, so, but going back to like the psych, I mean, I didn't study for psych at all because
No, I would
I
you.
was like minor. Yeah, I didn't have to, which was super nice.
Yeah.
I just studied all of chemistry and physics though.
Physics was so humbling. And I mean, I took physics at Hanover and no tea, no shade. I didn't learn a damn thing.
I mean, I took it. Good to know because I took it at Ivy Tech and I still didn't learn anything.
No, like so many people like were dealt so dirty in that
It's just
class.
unnecessarily hard. Physics also don't make like physicists applaud to them because I don't know how the fuck they can do that because
No,
that's
literally,
beyond me.
literally same girl. I'm like, I remember the first day of physics because as STEM people, there was no syllabus day for us. Like,
Oh no, absolutely not. But I just went in hungover. For the
yeah,
people who didn't go to Hanover, we had like syllabus eve, so we'd get like absolutely hammered the day before classes started because they're like, oh, like you're just going over the syllabus. Like that wasn't a thing for us nerds.
us nerds. No, I our syllabus day was here's the syllabus, read it on your own time. Here's this lecture
Yep,
about HIV virus and how it works.
I know. Or they were like, they'd send it out like a week early, and they were like, read it now because we're
Yeah,
not going over in
yeah, like BFFR. Um,
class.
but so the first day of physics was literally like go in and be like, you come up to a crater, it's this wide by this deep. What type of bear made it? That was the whole question.
Okay.
That was the whole motherfucking question. And so it was like A, B, C, or D. So I was like, polar bears are cool, so I'll go with that one. And apparently that was the right answer because you were supposed to calculate that the speed of gravity and the acceleration is different at the poles than in any other place on the planet. And I was like, what background knowledge do you think I have to know this?
Like, get out of my face with that. I don't need that kind of violence in my life.
I know. So yeah, it was just long story short, it was a bad time. So you did the right thing taking it at Ivy Tech, and I took the second semester at Ivy Tech, and it was great.
I caught that Taylor Swift reference in there, by the way.
Thank you.
Fool me.
There's one thing I love about this season is that there's Taylor Swift references in every episode, and
Yes.
there's Easter eggs and callbacks to future episodes, past episodes, and episodes from last season.
Yes. We love it.
No one's gonna catch them because like only I know where they are, and no one and this podcast is not loved enough to do a deep dive like that for it. But like for me, it's
I
just
mean, when you blow up, people are going to be all over it.
I honestly can't wait till I blow up and I can just shit talk everybody.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm
That's
kidding.
my favorite pastime. I love shit talking.
It's not shit talking if it's true. That's just presenting.
Exactly. I always like preface shit talking with like, oh, I would say it to their face. I mean, I would because that's just who I am. But like, it makes it okay.
That's one of the things I like about you is like I don't think we've ever had beef. There was a rumor that got started that was not true. And I just like went up to you and I was just like, I have no idea where this is coming from, but this is what
Was
I
it
said. This is not at
was it
all.
when I won the award? Was it that beef?
Yeah. So like I remember I remember we were on spring break and I was just literally like, "Hey, I need to talk to you because I want to clear this and like be like,
Yeah.
this is what happened. This is what I said."
Mad respect, because some people even like now like would never do that. Like they would just like not talk about it. So
See,
like mad respect for that.
and that's just not me. Like I like to keep friendships
Hmm.
and I was just kind of like, "Listen, real talk, this is what
Yeah,
happened."
I was like, might as well just hash it out. Like this is like, and it wasn't even true. So like, and even if it was true, like again, I wouldn't have even been mad. So,
See, I would have.
but I also like knew I was like, that doesn't seem like Jacob. So I also was like, I don't really know if I believe this.
What the like me like talking to you or like the rumor?
Oh, the rumor.
Needless to say, I've loved like the no BS we've had it with each other and be like, I'm feeling this type of way, but not about you, and this is what's going on. And I remember, do you remember when we were presenting at Indiana Academy of Science sophomore year?
You were presenting. I was not presenting, but yes.
Okay, so I want everyone to know that like Katie and I got involved with like research at sophomores,
Hmm.
and we were presenting at this conference, and Katie's project, like we were waiting on the flies to come in, so like we didn't have time
Hmm.
to sort them all yet. So, but like Katie went with us because like it was a vibe, and like what else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And I want you to know, like we were standing there, and not a single fucking person came up and talked to us about this poster. Like not even the people, not even the professors from our school came and asked us what we did. And I was just like, this is so humbling. This is so humbling.
Honestly, like taught us a lesson about poster presentations, to be honest.
On it, honestly, like so needless to say, I hit up the open bar very quickly. Because what else are you gonna do? Oh, but no. I think that was fun. I think that was very fun.
I guess was fun. I like that was my first experience with a conference. And that was the first time I was like, maybe I want to do research,
Hmm.
which is something I battled with a lot. Especially now I'm like diverting, but um because I knew I wasn't getting into medical school the first year, like the first cycle I applied. And then I went and did a NIH at University of Tennessee for the summer for 10 weeks. And I was like, I like kind of really like research. Like maybe I want to go get my PhD. And my PI at Tennessee was like, well, do you still want to do medicine? And I was like, yeah. She was like, okay, well, you can go get your like MD and you don't need a PhD to do research. And I was like, facts. So that's how I ended up in medicine
I love that.
over research.
I love that they were so real for that and be like, you don't need this.
Yeah. Like so many people like ask like when I would say I wanted to do both, they were like, do an MD PhD. And I'm like, A, I'm not competitive enough for that. Like I'm very self-aware. Like I know my strengths and my like weaknesses. I almost said non-strengths. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get into an MD PhD program. My MCAT was a 494. Like, what are you talking about? And but then when she was like, you don't need to do that. That's like 8 years. That's ridiculous. The only reason I would have thought about doing it is because it pays itself off.
Mhm.
Like if you're like debt like net is zero. But I was like, she was like, you don't need to do that. Plenty of doctors do research without a PhD. I was like, her, okay.
Slay. I knew like the area of research that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to
Hmm.
get a PhD. Plus, I also want to be a professor. I mean, which I feel like everybody does at one point.
Hmm.
But I'm also delusional and feel like I am the exception to everything. But yeah,
I'm
you
the
don't.
opposite. I'm like I am not the exception. I'm the exception in a bad way.
I never said I was the good exception. But no, that's something else like I want to talk to you about because I mean, you're a very self-aware person. Like I feel like you are
Hmm.
very like I'm good at this, but I'm bad, but I'm not so good at this. And,
Yeah.
and I like on the other hand, I like it's no surprise. I'm known for saying I'm awesome at everything. But, like I think, but like for me, and like this is like vulnerable for me, it's because I was constantly told I wasn't good enough to do anything, like in the like research
Hmm.
by like so many people. And so like it evolved as kind of like a defense mechanism against imposter syndrome. Like, no, like I'm amazing. I can do this. So like
Yeah.
is so like I want to ask, like, did you evolve that to kind of ground yourself, like an attempt to be like, listen, I might not be the best, but like I'm good at this and I'm deserving to be here.
So in college, I would say yes. And it's funny that you like shared that because I'm literally the exact opposite. Like my like defense mechanism for my imposter syndrome is just to like shit on myself all the time. Like and just like portray that I like don't work hard or like that I just like degrade myself all the time to other people. And I think this is more like my like I psychoanalyze myself. Like in therapy, it's just me talking. But I think I say those things so that hopefully someone else will be like, "Oh my gosh, me too." So that I know I'm not like alone and like thinking these things because I have a very like supportive network. People tell me all the time that, you're gonna be a great doctor, you're doing fine, like you're not failing, like you deserve to be here. And none of that means anything to me. Like I ignore them, I don't believe them. I am constantly just doubting myself, which is a very different person than who I was in college. In college, I was very aware. I knew I was good at bio, wasn't good at chemistry. Like I knew I was a good student. I knew I was smart. And then you get to medical school and it's like you just have absolutely no faith in yourself. So yes and no, I guess, to answer that question. But I'm like the opposite. I'll just shit on myself all the time.
Mhm. I think that's a very common thing to do. And I don't know why, but I think there's something like very communal about students like not doing great, like well, like bond,
Yeah,
like saying that they're not doing great and bonding. Like I remember this tweet, and I saw it freshman year of college. It's burned in my mind. I don't remember who tweeted it, but it's like the bond. There's no stronger bond than a class knowing they're about to get screwed by a final.
literally.
And I feel like that's such like a canon event in the life of a student
Oh
is
yeah,
just
that's like every exam for us. Like it's just you walk in, like you never feel good.
no. And
But
so
agreed.
yeah. So like I don't know. I feel like that, but like you like as someone like who did well like exams and like was a very good student, it's very interesting for you to like hear that like you kind of like shit on yourself a lot. And
Hmm.
like I mean like your credentials, like you're obviously very talented and like capable.
Thanks. Like I get like uncomfy like when I like someone like tells me that like I like don't like you just said that and I don't believe you like I just think you're like bullshitting me because I don't believe it myself.
Girl,
But
I don't give two shits anymore.
I I know you know what I mean. But though it's like I think it's just medical school when you like compare yourself to everyone else and you're it's just I mean I had never gone to therapy in my life and I like started going to therapy not because of like anything other than medical school.
No. I mean that's so real though. I mean, I know so many med students and like I won't like out their business, but like have told me that like it's a very like depressing, rough environment. So many of them have started therapy just because of medical school.
Yeah, and it's like something that no one can prepare you for and no one like really gets into it. That like the biggest I mean people like first years and people in the master's program will like ask me for advice. First of all, I'm like, why are you asking me for advice? And then I'm like I'm like, you don't want my advice. And then I'm like, my biggest piece of advice is get a therapist and get a cat.
I love cats.
Uh yeah, I lost mine out. He's like roaming around. Like I can sit here and I mean I study from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, like every single day. Like studying is not the issue. Like I can study all day long, but it's like the mental games you play with yourself and like constantly not feeling good enough, not feeling you're gonna make a good doctor. like you don't belong to be here. Like everyone else is doing better than you. Because in medical school, everyone puts on a face that they're doing good, and like you just feel like everyone else is doing so much better than you. And I mean, a lot of people are lying. So I think that's also why I'm very open and being like, no, like I'm like not okay. Like it's okay that you're not okay. Like we're not competing against each other, even though the schools like to think make us think that we are.
I That is so true. And like I'm glad that you recognize that there's nothing wrong with saying be like, yeah, no, I'm not having a good time right now. Like this is actually awful. Like
Straight
because
up not having a good time.
sometimes things are just bad. Like that's just how it is. I mean, like you can be grateful for them and like there good things can come from that, but sometimes things are just bad. Like there's no ifs, ands.
Yeah, like medical school is the best time, like the most rewarding experience of my life, and also like the absolute worst experience of my life all at the same time.
Yeah, and both can be true at once.
Yeah, and
And
that's okay.
mhm. And I'm glad you recognize that. And I'm also glad you recognize that like you're not competing with other students. Because I feel like all the time in undergrad, like I feel like they almost wanted us to compete against each other in a way, like as
Yeah,
body. And I don't know if that was just me or not, but I mean, professors would tell me it'd be like, like you got the highest in this grade, but so and so almost got you. And I was like, why are you telling me this?
they would tell us that. They would tell you that. I don't think I
They
ever got
told
told
me,
that.
but like I have a habit of knowing things I shouldn't.
Yeah, you do. You're a messy bitch.
I'm not messy. People tell me this shit. That's another thing. I want to tell everyone I'm not messy if you tell me your shit, okay? I don't go around asking for anything. I don't go around telling people other people's business. I don't go, well, not anymore. I don't, so much of the like messiness or drama that I got roped in, people just said my name.
You just
Like,
have a very open face, I guess.
it's not my fault everyone was obsessed with me, okay? I'm just playing. But no, like it was just wild some of the things. Oh,
I don't know. Maybe I was just too intoxicated in undergrad to care. I only cared about like the next time I got to go out, honestly. I was like, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday? All right.
says says the STEM collegiate athlete who is a study group leader.
Yeah, so let that be a lesson. You can have fun and like you don't have to be like you don't have to lock yourself in a room all 4 years. Like go have fun.
Now, grad school and medical school is a different story, but
Oh yeah, I don't have any fun now.
but
Blank.
you gotta live it up then. You know how they always told us like work hard now. No, have fun then. Have fun then.
Yeah, have fun then, and you can work hard later.
Uh, well, Katie, we're wrapping up, but this is a common theme throughout the entirety of season two. And if you're just listening, I won't hold this against you, but if you've been listening all season, if you haven't caught on, I worry for you. Um, but Katie, if you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing about like your academic professional career, and you can pick like any point, but you can only tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
um, I would tell my younger self to never forget who you are and just to keep going. Don't give up the fight, and never doubt yourself. I guess that was very vague. I don't know if you want me to go into more
I mean,
detail.
whatever, whatever you're good with. I mean, like I feel like that's very solid advice.
I just think in college I was very self-assured, and now when I say like I'm a shell of myself, like I mean that in like the most dramatic way. Like I am nobody else but medicine. Um, and so just relax, breathe. Like it's gonna work out. You're gonna just do what you gotta do. You know you. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't let anybody else tell you how to study. Don't let anybody else tell you what you're supposed to do. Just listen to yourself and trust in your abilities, and you'll be okay.
I
And
love
yeah,
that.
that's what I would tell myself.
I love that. That's so true. And like I especially feel like as people in STEM, it's very easy to doubt yourself. and compare yourself to other people and be like, oh, this person's
Mm-hmm.
doing this. And like, so, but no, I think having that like inner self-worth and like being kind of like you said, being intrinsically motivated is very important.
Yeah, my dad always said that was my superpower, my motivation, and I was like, thanks, Dad. I just like don't want to be a failure.
Well, Katie, we're wrapping it up now, but is there any last little thing that you want to say right now that you weren't asked or that I didn't give you the floor to talk about?
Just that medical school is really hard. But no, we talked about that. But no, I think I basically covered it all. Just that every path is different. We have some people in medical school that are 40 years old, and that's okay. Like, if you want to go into medical school, like, you're gonna do it. The best piece of advice I ever got was like, if you want to be a doctor, you'll be a doctor. You just got to figure out how to get there. But also, like any path in academia, if it's you stop after your bachelor's or you go to grad school or you get a PhD, like, it's all needed and it's all valued. And it's fine what makes you happy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the imposter syndrome in medical school as well is deep.
Well,
That was a lot of things that we also did talk about. So sorry. That was a bad response.
no, it's okay. Like, I just love hearing people talk like this. Like, that's such a weird thing to say, but like, I love talking to people and like, I love getting their things on it. And it's always real. And that's what I love. I hate the bullshit about things. I would rather go deaf than hear a bunch of lies.
True.
No. Well, Katie, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had a great time because I know I did. And this won't mean anything to you. But I hope you know that you are doing great. And I hope that you take your own advice and remember everything that you've done and what all the work you put in to get here. And remember you're deserving of being there and you're capable.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I mean,
You're
naturally,
right. I didn't believe a word you just said, but
I
thanks.
know, I know, I know, wasting my breath over here. Hopefully it clicks one day.
One day when I'm making like $300,000, maybe.
And just remember who encouraged you the entire time. So, Katie, where can people follow you and keep up with you in your med school journey?
So I'm on Instagram at Katie Perry03. Katie with an IE, Perry with a RRY, like the singer. Um, and then yeah, that's my handle on everything. So
No.
Twitter,
And
TikTok.
Katie's info will also be linked in the video description of this podcast. Katie, thank you so much again for joining us. We wish you the most best thing. Words are hard. Sorry. It's been a day and it's only Monday. And to all of you at home, remember, I'm Jacob Watts and I'm amazing. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.